Now let's continue talking about the bloodline, but from a timeline and portal point of view, like a multiversal point of view. So when we think about timelines, timelines are what we've lived, where we are in the present, and also the possibilities and probabilities of what could happen in the future. And so with these, there are like, we can even have parallel patterns. And these are things that can occur between different life paths that we take, and also identity shifts that we take. Many times with like, if you get married and your name changes, when you are christened. Not that that is a change of name, but that can shift some things, because yeah, and an enmeshment happens with your godparents, so that can shift some things for you as well. And then also we have what we would consider to be ancestral portals. Now, those are moments people's experience, and then different experiences that we have that um, they're like open access to either healing or to repetition of narratives that have happened. And in these ancestral portals, it normally looks like repeating, where someone doesn't stand up for something, someone doesn't stand up about something, and then that thing repeats itself. So where you have multiple generations that have been sexually assaulted by a family member, or it's something that is prevalent in a family and no one ever speaks of it, the healing can't happen, and that's why the repetition happens. Either either something will continue to repeat because it is it is created as a norm, as a pattern, as something that is acceptable, until somebody, or it's going to, until somebody actually puts their foot down and does the healing process for that, speaking up, bringing the unawareness into awareness, and then taking the proper steps to make sure that that thing is handled correctly, to basically set new standards for that thing. So that could be, as far as some addiction and alcoholism, drug use, sexualization of children, not just sexual assault, but sexualization of children, where you have them like performing in front of people, and making them, dressing them like adults as small children, and different things like that. There's some things that cross a line that can be a portal into, it's an ancestral portal into a shift. Literally a shift happens. If you think about like, I'll give you a good example. If you are an adult or even a child, but mostly adult children, I see this in children, where a situation will happen, and how someone speaks to them, approaches them, how they place their hand on them, can give them like this eerie feeling. It almost feels like it snatches a little bit of their innocence from them, and it brings them through this portal of real live reality that they do not yet understand. Or if they do understand it, the imprinting is, it just feels like resistance within their being. And so they, from that point, they're not the same. So when you enter into a portal, you can say that from that point, you're not the same. Now, in psychology, that's either called a choice point or a divergence point. And basically, you either make a choice point. The choice point is where you say this pattern will continue, or this pattern will break. So when you decide that something is going to not continue, it doesn't mean that it completely goes away. Okay. So the thing may not continue the way it always has, but it may become different. So the example of that is, one of my children had a friend who um, dressed like a boy, baggy clothes and everything like that. And one day I was having a conversation with the young lady, beautiful young lady. She just looked like she could dress however she wanted. Okay. And she said, I asked her, when did she start dressing like a tomboy? And she said, there was a point when I was growing up where how the men in my family were looking at me made me feel unsafe. It felt creepy. It felt intrusive. It felt weird to me. So I became one of the boys. That in that moment, that is either called a choice point, where you make a choice, or a divergence choice, where you completely divert and you go, hey, I'm breaking this. This is not going to happen. Breaking that would look like, you still being yourself, but having to now fight for your freedom, fight for your safety, speak up and cause ruckus sometimes. Because sometimes people don't just hear you. When you look at me like that, it makes me feel uncomfortable. And for children, that can be hard. It can be a challenge to actually confront an adult, especially if the adults around them do not support them speaking up for themselves. Now, a choice point is where you then make a choice. This is how things are, and I'm going to alter myself. I'm going to alter my actions. I'm going to alter how I do things. I'm not going to walk in front of that house because the person in that house comes out every time I come. I'm going to take the long way around. It becomes a choice point. So I do want you to understand that a choice point and a divergence point are both portals, because there's a shift that happens when you make those choices. And it basically alters your path, or how you're going to walk along your path while you hold this thing. It's like you collecting a new definition for something. So it is a mini portal you just walk through and say, this is how I will continue forward concerning this thing. And then, of course, we have energetic echoes. Energetic echoes are something that they basically are residual patterns. And when I think of residual patterns, I think about things that have like always existed in your generational lines, or have existed for a long time, and they're these underlining patterns where they don't stick out. They are just like, they are the tree, and many of the other patterns are branches. And most of the time we look at the branches and the flowers of these residual patterns. But these residual patterns, these energetic echoes, actually they echo throughout your generational lines at different choice points and diversion points that they happen, creating these openings for different type of like contracts with entities, or putting different protections in place. The other day I was doing some protection work, and I was putting my family in, put protection around my family. And I wanted to put something in place, and my spirit team said, if you put that in place, it can seem as though it is a blockage for them to move forward, versus you putting in place, you asking their spirit team to put in place what they need to direct them in the way that they should go. And this is something that isn't always talked about, especially in protection work, because we don't realize that when we put things in place, that thing can be something that halts them from moving forward. And also, when we make that choice, we are then deciding what portal they would have to go through, or what gateway they would have to go through, what threshold they would have to go through in order for them to be free of that. Like, we are orchestrating some aspect of their lives. So that's why prayer can also be an interference. You can pray for that person to be well, to do well. You can pray specific things for them, but if you don't pray that this person, that they're given what they need, that they're led the way they need to be led, and keep your preferences out of it, you can create blockages, and you can create like different type of obstacles that they may have to go through that they may not be prepared for, especially if you aren't having the proper conversations, and letting them know that this has been put in place and how you had set it up to be navigated. So the energetic echoes are these portals that basically they echo through your generational lines on the maternal side and the paternal side. And so the way that you would address these things is you would ask your spirit team. You can be in meditation, or you can, however you do your work, you can ask that if there's any challenges, blockages, obstacles, any contracts, agreements, blood magic that has been done, any cords, plugs, braided type of enmeshments, just asking to bring forward anything that is keeping you from moving forward, and also bring in the information that you need to be able to move forward in the most optimal way, so that it won't become a challenge. It'll actually become something you'll be bringing it into awareness, so that you can rectify those things and make new choice points for your bloodline.